yo, everyone's like, cabrón, ¿vas a planchar de nuevo? Or you're gonna steam clothes again? And it's like, yeah, bro, like I'm not going out wrinkly, yo. You're wild. And then he showed me how to make stencils and do all this stuff. And I was running around, and he was like, yo, tal noche, if your mom lets you, like he was literally like convincing my mom
to let you go out to paint.
I'm in like 10th grade. Already have tattoos. You know, they were dressed in like the flyest gear, like looking super crisp. Pedro's 100, Carrie's, you know, talking to everyone in her English accent, and it was just like such a fucking like movement for me that it smacked me so hard that I was like, I don't want to do anything else but be a part of this.
Whatever they doing, I want in.
Yeah, I need in. And I remember like they've always showed me love, and I'm forever gonna show them love and be grateful for everything that they've taught me throughout the game, because I'm able to now have conversations with OGs, like dudes that are older than me, about brands back that a guy my age might not even know or be able to talk about. But because of them, I'm able to have these conversations, you know, like even going to trade shows. Like they got me to go to trade shows like real early in the game. So it's really, really dope. Like screening, packaging, you know, I was already doing like hang tags and
tú estabas haciendo todo.
Yeah, everything from packaging.
¿Estabas haciendo los silk screens también?
Yeah, I was going into this. Well, I was printing in different places, but that's when I started to learn about it fully. But we were going in, like we were really selling units. You know, I had built at that time it was like big cartel, and inside that perfect circle, you want to keep that good energy going. And when we talk about friends and family, we talk about our circle. So we can make our circle as big or small as we want. And that's what the compass represents, is to make sure that we keep that good energy in our circle flowing correctly. And we can make it as big or as small as we want. And the reason for that circle is because there's been so many times throughout my career that I've been like, yo, can I sit at the table? She's like, when can you start? I was like, right now. Yep. And she's like, whoa, you got to whatever. Yo, and I'm just sitting there, bro. And the trains are leaving and coming in, and I'm just standing there like
waiting, just like,
yo, but just basically to myself like, puñeta, like, yeah.
We see. Bienvenidos al culto. Yo soy su host, Selek, y esto es MdrnCults. Esto, para mí hoy es un día especial en el podcast, porque esto es un tipo que llevo viendo y siguiendo por varios años ya, y me ha inspirado y a la vez me ha apoyado en mis proyectos también, y a su vez no mucha gente lo conoce y sabe quién es. Esto es el doble, así como el double whammy, así como que ok, tengo la oportunidad y el privilegio aquí de tener a Mr.Redd de Details Matter. Bienvenido.
Damn. Thank you. That's a big intro to live up to, and you know, vice versa. I'm very inspired and motivated by the artwork and everything that you're done, and legacies that you're carrying on yourself.
Thank you.
And I think it's very important that we applaud each other and give each other flowers, as they say in the industry. Not only do you support me in what I do, but you know, you as a homie coming up, I gotta support you and your work, you know, as a visual artist and everything that you do. And those pieces hang so nicely and proudly in my office and in my studio, and you've never said no to even on custom pieces too, which hopefully that doesn't get you in trouble for saying no maybe to some other people, but you know, I'm grateful. You know, the feeling is mutual.
I appreciate it. Lo aprecio. Vamos a empezar por el way back. ¿Nacido y criado en Puerto Rico, sí o no?
Yes, sir. Born in Rio Piedras. Born and raised most of my life here. Mi papá estaba en el ejército. So, ya el primer grado nos fuimos para Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde estaba?
Man, I lived in Texas, Colorado, Kentucky. We lived in like Pennsylvania for a little bit. So, por eso es que cuando la gente me dice, tú no tienes acento, it's always like, well, you know, me crié en base militar.
Claro.
Pero en mi casa siempre se habló español. Mamá siempre decía que íbamos a aprender inglés en la escuela, pero en la casa se habló español siempre. Para que cuando mi hermana y yo veníamos de vacaciones para Puerto Rico, podíamos hablar con los primos, los abuelos, los tíos y tías. So, I'm super grateful for that. Pero siempre me tiro el back and forth. mixing it up. So it's like the way I think and register stuff in my brain is really different. But born and raised here, Rio Piedras, on my birth certificate. So no one can take that from me.
Yeah. Okay, so estuviste all around the world early. Desde chiquito estabas viajando y viendo distintas culturas y distintos movimientos.
Yeah, always a mix, you know. So siempre eran casi cada 2 años, pues we packed up and we leave, and I'm grateful for it because I was able to adapt to a lot of cultures and a lot of variety really quick. You know, there was no choice. It wasn't like, no quiero ir. Nah.
Yeah. You gotta go.
You gotta go.
And you gotta make new friends.
Yeah, you make new friends. A veces if we were lucky, the same command group that was with us on base, then they would go to the same cities as us. Claro. So, you know, sometimes you had those friends that would move with you. But on the most part, you would just go make new friends.
Yeah, I got you. My family's been in the military too.
Yeah.
So, yo sé cómo es. Mi hermana se acaba de mudar de Alemania, ahora va para Texas.
Man. Yeah, my sister was born in Frankfurt, so
pues.
So they were there 5 years. That would have been dope for me. I wish I experienced that, but I'm happy they came back on time because she was born in Frankfurt and then I was born in Puerto Rico, so
okay,
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Esto es una pregunta que siempre hago y que siempre es como de la primera pregunta para seguir el camino de hacia dónde vamos y qué es lo que es. Hay una pieza, hay un disco de música, hay un video, hay algo que tú dices que te inspira o tú dices, what's that? I want to do that. O que tú dices que te influyó en la cultura, ¿me entiendes? Hay algo, esa pieza, ese icono que tú dices que te adentraste en el movimiento de streetwear o de hip hop o...
Man, I think it's a mix of a lot of things. Freestyle Session 8, the B-Boy Battle, that was really big.
Esto es?
It's like it was a breakdancing video. Right? They still do it.
90 what? Or
man, this is like for seeing something visually of understanding and being introduced to the 4 elements, that was kind of it. But it's also the first time I watched Style Wars.
Okay.
When I watched Style Wars for the first time, that's when I was like,
what's this?
Yeah.
So estamos hablando de una película de graffiti y un video de B-Boys.
Yeah. Yep. And it came vice versa. So it was like I watched Style Wars first, and then when I crossed paths, and I'm pretty sure we'll get to it, when I crossed paths with Pedro and Carrie at Treats,
claro, we're gonna get there.
I'm introduced to Freestyle Session, and I'm like, yo, this is insane because now I'm watching what I had watched in Style Wars, and I was always infatuated and excited about New York. And Style Wars is all about the come up in New York, you know, and the graffiti scene and the trains in the city. Like that's where I got my first like injection of, yo, this is dope.
Nice. Yo no sé si yo vi esas películas antes. Yo sé que yo tengo una pieza. Para mí siempre fue como ir a visitar a los primos a Nueva York o Nueva Jersey o whatever. El primer disco de los Fugees. O una camisa que te trajo un familiar que era como que... una gorra con unos ojos, con un carácter bordado. Y era como que, okay, nadie tiene esto. What's this?
Man, I have this t-shirt that my mom brought me back. She went to Charlotte for work. It's the Charlotte Hornet logo, and it's ripping through the shirt, right? So it's like the front of the Hornet in the front, and then the back of the Hornet in the back. And it's like this very dark teal with the purple and white, and it was so loud. And it's funny because I have about like 3 or 4 school pictures, and I'm wearing the same shirt because it was so big. Like when she got it for me, I think I was a small kid. I've always been like a skinny dude. Yeah. And I think she got the shirt like size large. I should have been wearing like an extra small or something. So it's like I was able to wear it throughout my times.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she has the pictures in her house.
It's like,
so I'm gonna text you next time I go over there, and it's just me like And I'm just wearing that shirt. And I'm like, yo, you didn't change my clothes any of the times
for 3 or 4 years.
For like 3 years. And it was always on like picture day. So
it still fit.
Nah, hey, it was a fire tee.
But,
it was a
eran los 90.
Yo,
Era NBA.
It was sick, man. That and then the Bugs Bunny and Tasmanian Devil.
Con los b-boy stands.
And they're wearing everything backwards.
Yeah,
they're doing the crisscross. Yeah. So it's like it's bag. It's it's Bugs Bunny.
Esas camisas bootleg era lo mejor.
Yo,
eso en los 90.
Eso like my mom was so focused, right? So it was like we weren't getting expensive things, but what we could afford and she could get, it was like
cool.
It was fly.
Yeah.
And I was never like, no, mom, I don't want to wear. You know, it was what she picked. Like I've heard stories of people who were like, damn, my mom did not know how to dress.
Eso te iba a decir, tu mamá te tenía fly.
Yo, my mom's a fly woman. Like in her pictures, you know, she has her hair done. She has this long hair, and yo, the whole family's creative.
Yeah.
So, you know, she always held it down. So I'm thankful that I wasn't like a bad dressed kid. You know?
¿Tú le acreditas eso a la cultura latina? Yo creo que como latinos siempre somos bien flamboyants, así como que show off and we're ready and
yeah, yo no creo que algo de que we gotta show off.
Pero como que we gotta be like stand out and presentable.
Yeah. En la casa siempre era presentable.
Yeah.
You know, my dad being a military man, and you know my mom
to be sharp.
Exactly. So it was like going out wrinkled, and this is something que me pasa ahora till my time is like, yo, everyone's like, cabrón, vas a planchar de nuevo. Or you're gonna steam clothes again? And it's like, yeah, bro, like I'm not going out wrinkly. Yo, you're wild. Like, hasta yo, a veces yo salgo, and if it's algo importante, la camisa que me voy a poner, I steam it, I hang it in the back, y me pongo otra camisa para guiar, para no estojarlo. You know, and like I'm slowly saliéndome de eso, como que I gotta go with the flow. Pero es como que en casa it was always like, yo, you gotta be sharp.
Pero eso te hace a ti. Eso es parte de tu personalidad.
Yeah, y bueno, y no podemos tener una marca que se llama Details Matter and we're going around wrinkled.
Exacto.
You know, looking like bums.
What are the details?
Yo, I'm telling you, por eso fue when you hit me up and I was like, yo, is this gonna be recorded? And you're like, yeah, I hit my barber. Yo, I know it's last minute. I just need a tape. I need something. I gotta be.
Cerquillo, algo.
Yeah, porque siempre tengo una gorra puesta and I'm trying to be, you know,
change
sometimes different. I was like, yo, let's not wear a hat.
Claro.
But yeah.
So, ¿te mudas a Puerto Rico? ¿Qué año?
Man, we moved back like my 6th grade year. So it had to be like 95, 96 because my sister graduated in 99. So fue como que, I don't want to say a reverse culture shock, pero fue bien diferente para volver. You know, yo estaba jugando deporte en Estados Unidos, ya estaba acostumbrado a una manera de how everybody was, y para volver aquí fue un poquito difícil, you know. La palabra gringo se usaba mucho para ese tiempo. Todavía lo escuchamos, pero cuando entré al colegio ya era como que, el gringo, y para mí, eso me encojonaba. I'd be like, yo, like, what the fuck is calling me a gringo? Like, yo nací aquí.
Exacto.
You know, like, yo soy de aquí, and I como que I could turn it on and off real quick, like the Spanish and English. So it was hard, man. Like, I wasn't accepted on sports teams at a young age. Yeah, like
aquí,
yeah. Like, it's almost like I had like reverse, like, I don't want to call it like,
eras bueno pero eres gringo.
Yeah, like no, you don't mesh with us. You're not from here.
Oh wow.
And to me, I really took that to heart, you know, because I'm like, damn, I finally get to go back home de donde yo soy y empezar to integrate con todo el mundo de aquí, and now I'm not accepted.
Wow,
right? And in the States, it was hard because yo era trigueñito colorado. You know, like, my mom will tell you the story of me getting sent home y le dicen que no se aceptaban los estudiantes que se pintaban el pelo.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Y mi mamá tiene pelo negro, y una vez her pushing me like in the stroller. This lady was like, "Oh, whose kid is that?" And my mom's like, "Yo, that's my kid." So it's weird, man. Like, I had some short struggles in the I wouldn't even call them struggles. I'll just call them like you know, just situations that I went through. But definitely when I came back here, it was like it took a long time for me to get accustomed to it until I got to high school, which then they changed me from schools, and I was kind of with kids from all around the world, but the majority of them were from Puerto Rico. And then that's when I started playing sports again, running track and doing all that.
¿Qué deporte hacías? Correr, pisticampo.
Yeah. I played indoor soccer, outdoor soccer, y correr pisticampo, but I was a jumper, long jump, triple jump.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So estás viendo las Olimpiadas.
I am a little bit, man. Si te digo que casi no veo, I hardly watch any TV no more. Okay. I haven't watched TV for probably like...
Bueno, ¿qué es televisión? Porque estás viendo el Versus.
Yo, but, you know,
estamos viendo YouTube
I'm gonna tell everybody, if you didn't watch Detalles versus Deluxe, you missed out on an amazing performance. Jada murdered everyone by himself, so
he murdered Dipset and his team.
Oh yeah, he was going on, but yeah.
Entonces, ¿qué estás haciendo en esa época? ¿Estás bien metido en la cultura también del hip hop? ¿Estás haciendo b-boys o algo de casualidad?
Man,
o graffiti o algo?
So I'm not. So really, I wasn't in the music scene. I listened to more R&B.
Okay.
A lot. So I listened to like Soul for Real was probably one of the first CDs I got. You know, those are the guys that sing Candy Rain. So their group was like, it's like four brothers, and the age range from like age 13 till 18. Okay. If you have never listened to them,
gotta check it.
Check them out. Their vocals are crazy.
This is pre Boyz II Men or after Boyz II Men?
I want to say almost around the same time, but they definitely came after Boyz II Men.
Okay.
But as in the scene, I was first introduced in graffiti, and I'm gonna feel really bad because I'm not gonna remember the gentleman's name. But my mom driving home when we were living in Caguas saw like this handwritten sign that said "Learn Graffiti."
Okay.
And she thought it was very different. She was like, I don't know what this word is. Do you know what it is? And at that time, we were signing up for like pottery classes. Claro. So I'd go do pottery with her. I was doing sewing. I was doing like basically like any home economics class. Like she was signing me up for, because, you know, we were so creative in the house, and she didn't want us like sitting still watching TV or playing video games. She always wanted us outside.
Nice.
And doing something. And this gentleman lives... Man, en Cagua, en Bairoa.
Yo, estás hablando de mi corillo. Reat y Leal, lo más probable. El Coacru.
Reat, yeah, he had a big afro.
Afro,
yes, yo.
Ese es mi corillo,
dude,
papi.
That snapped so quick. Reat was giving class. And I think it was his mom's place or in a classroom behind the house.
Yes.
And he was teaching can control and self-portraits. Yeah. And I still have it. It's like a 3x3. And he's the one that really put me on. And then he showed me how to make stencils and do all this stuff. And I was running around, and he was like, yo, tal noche, if your mom lets you. Like, he was literally like convincing my mom
to let you go out to paint.
I'm in like 10th grade, and he's like, every time she picked me up, he'd be like, ¿sabes? Tiene un talento, ¿sabes? Si lo podemos sacar para la calle para que él pinte murales o qué sé yo. Yeah. And she was kind of like, well, you know, I don't want him to get in trouble. But she was like taking me to buy. She was like asking him, ¿dónde compramos las tapitas? ¿Qué pinturas son los mejores? And like she had my grandpa like frame my self-portrait that I made of myself. Like I had this really big red afro at the time.
Wow.
But dude, that's him.
So maybe we know each other from before. I don't know. Ese es mi corillo con el que yo empecé a pintar graffiti. Damn, con esos dos hermanos, con el COAC, Crimen o Arte, mano.
That's so fucking, bro. Like, yo, my hair stood up. That shit's crazy.
So, diablo, qué loco.
Yeah, that was my intro to graffiti.
Bueno, después de la película, ¿no?
Well, yeah, after the movie.
But you try it.
And trying to spin on my head and stuff like that.
Wow. Y en Bairoa, es que en Bairoa siempre eso es como una ciudad, aparte de Caguas, eso está todo allí, todo el mundo está haciendo b-boy, skate, basketball.
Yeah, en el redondel, tú sabes, que siempre hay todas paredes que están pintadas. Like they've always been painted, and under the bridges too, siempre hay murales, and there's always people painting constantly. So.
La Bairoa 3 era una escuela y la parte de atrás estaba todo pintada.
Yep.
Y ahí, esto ya estamos llegando, eso tiene que ser casi 2001 o algo así.
Yeah, 2001, 2002.
Sí, lo más probable. So, ahí es que empieza a conocer ahí la Treats, porque ahí es cuando NYCA 787 es que empieza la original, seguro, Nika.
Yep.
Ahí es que ellos empiezan como que a cater to us, a como que empiezan a traer tribal, empiezan a traer estas marcas de graffiti que no se veían.
Oh man, it was Tribal Gear, Upper Playground.
Upper Playground de San Francisco.
Wild Style Techniques. Yes. It was Wild Style Techniques. They were bringing Send 2 and Cope were doing clothing at the time, so they were sending stuff from them. Man, they brought LRG to Puerto Rico. They were the first ones to bring LRG. And yeah, man, like 2000, I want to say late 2002, 2003 is when I crossed paths with that small booth that they had in the back.
Que era
en Plaza.
Con Gravity allí, que quizás ya no estaba Gravity.
No, antes que estuviera Gravity, ellos estaban, cuando empezaron a hacer el wing nuevo, donde está Macy's, ellos estaban en un booth bien chiquito. Oh, wow. Like a real, like literally probably the size of this wall.
Claro.
And that's where Pedro was playing Freestyle Session 8 on like a little TV that had the VHS on the bottom.
Ajá, me acuerdo de esa.
And he was selling like Adidas tracksuits. And he was there. He was wearing, I'll never forget. He was wearing an all white Adidas tracksuit with black lines, and he was wearing like a Kango cap. And he had these big black frame glasses with gold on the side. And so
Kangos, like castles.
Yeah, I don't know who I saw first, him or the video. And I was just standing there, just like memorized. And he literally stops. He stops the tape, ejects it, puts it in the case, and he goes, "Yo, bring it back to me." Ooh. And I'm like, so at that moment, I'm like looking at him, like he's a tall dude, and I'm looking at him, and it's like yo, like I'm meeting my future mentor at that first time.
You didn't knew. You was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, and he's like hands me the video. So I run. I remember my mom was in Macy's. I run back to Macy's, and I had this cassette. I had this cassette, right? And she's like, ¿Qué es eso? She's like, don't like, she's scared, right? ¿De dónde tú cogiste eso? ¿Cómo tú compraste eso? Tú no tienes chavo or whatever. And I'm like, man, el señor me lo dio, me dijo que se lo traerá para atrás. And she's like, pero qué señor. So she made me caminar para atrás. Y Pedro, no, yo se lo di para que él lo viera completo porque me dijo que para que tú terminara. So my mom was like, okay. So I remember having it por como 2 semanas. Y yo le digo como que, mira, mami, tenemos que llevar el video para atrás. We gotta take it back. I'm in like in 10th grade.
Yeah, no, una super experiencia.
And you know, so she, you know, and it's different because here in Puerto Rico, they have to drive us everywhere, right? Like we don't have buses or trains. It's not like people when they're like, I lived in New York, I hopped on the train. Like you see like what, 5th and 6th graders hopping on the train in New York. But so we go back and the store's not there.
Oh,
and I'm like, and she's like, pero estaba aquí, ¿verdad? And I'm like, yo, they were right here on this corner. Y ahí fue cuando se mudaron para el espacio más grande, que era con Gravity. So yo cargué ese video en mi bulto de la escuela por como un mes, que siempre salía de la escuela and I would head over to Plaza para ver si lo encontraba, until one day que un pana me dice como que, mira, estoy en el food court, estaba en Chili's, que you know, that was the hang spot. Like, estoy en Chili. And y subí y pues me encontré con ellos. And I was like, oh man, like, thank you so much. This was fucking fire. And then I saw the store and then I was just blown. It was like game over, you know. And then that's when I met Carrie. At that time was working Topics and Slinky. And you know,
Slinky.
Yeah, you know, the homies, bro. And they're just like the coolest dudes in the world to me, right? Like these dudes already have tattoos. You know, they were dressed in like the flyest gear, like looking super crisp. Pedro's 100, Carrie's, you know, talking to everyone in her English accent. And it was just like such a fucking like movement for me that it smacked me so hard that I was like, I don't want to do anything else but be a part of this.
Yeah, whatever they doing, I want in.
Yeah, I need in. And I remember like it was going into the summer and I was like, yo, can I work here? And they were like dubbing me like, nah, you know, we don't need nobody yet. And then I came back the next year, 11th grade year. It was about like, it was 2003 for the holidays. Or 2000, it might have been my senior year or my junior year. And I had gone back, I can't remember. And had to been my senior year because I had a car. And I asked Carrie again, and I had already been going for like 2 years, and I was like, hey, do you guys need help or whatnot? And the first thing she goes to me goes, yo, you have a car? And I'm like, yeah, I got a car. She's like, okay, I'm gonna think about it. I got home. It was like Friday. I got home and she called me. And I remember I was real stingy with my minutes, you know, the flip phones at the time, you know, it was prepaid. And she called me and she's like, hey, Redd, it's Carrie from Treats. And everyone was talking in my house, and I'm like, yo, everybody shut up.
This is
like
important.
I'm on a business. Yeah, like I'm on a business card or something. And I'm like, yeah, how could I help you? And she's like, can you work tomorrow? And I was like, hell yeah. So she's like, yo, be at the store at whatever. And at that time, I had this big red afro. And I remember like riding my bike to the lady who braided my hair. Okay. And I was like, I need you to braid my hair. And she was like, I don't got no space for you. You're literally gonna have to wait till like 10 o'clock at night. And I stayed there all day just to get my hair braided, because the way I showed up that next day at NYCA was gonna be how the rest of my life was gonna be.
How like, everybody's gonna see me.
And the crazy part is, I showed up the next day with fresh braids, and Carrie was so disappointed.
She's like, okay.
She was like, I love your afro. And I was like, no. So when she sees it, she'll laugh. But it was just a life-changing moment for me to just be there and be able to touch this product so early in my age and get all this knowledge from them. You know, like they're the only ones bringing mixtapes, right? So all like the DJ Clue, all the DJ Green Lantern, so they're bringing all the 50, all the Ja Rule, all the Fat Joe, everything. Like we were getting,
they were super early in the game,
super early.
Y tú estabas bien enfocado de que lo que sea que vi, lo que sea que está haciendo esta gente, yo quiero estar ahí. Y lo hiciste.
And I got in and then I became like really good friends with Topics. He was, at that time, he was DJing at Lasers, which was one of the only really at the time hip hop spots, you know, in Old San Juan. And I remember some nights where he was just getting me into the club, and I would have school the next day, and I would just sleep under the DJ's booth or next to it, you know, and it was just
living the life.
Yeah, it was good, man. Like anything and everything that came through those doors was such a factor of who I am today.
No, y todo lo que me estás diciendo, o sea, como que me cuentas esto que no sabía. Sabía que trabajaste allí, sabía que estuviste allí por un tiempo, pero no sabía desde cuándo. Y escucho lo que dice y es como que diantre, estas personas, o sea, lo que dijimos ahora, they were early in the game. O sea, ellos estaban trayendo... Tú tenías que saber que ellos estaban allí, pero lo que ellos estaban trayendo era lo que estaba pasando en otras grandes ciudades.
Yeah, it was... And the reason, I don't know if you know, the reason behind NYCA's
is New York, California, 787.
You know, so it's basically the whole trip, right? And making sure
going back.
And Pedro lived all around the world too, and so did Carrie. So their influence behind fashion was so big. You know, like they've had a few brands. They're both tailors themselves. So just getting educated from them every single day, you know, and him, and on music too. Like I remember him and Topics were getting mad arguments over music because they could never agree on like fire stuff. But Pedro's musicality, he used to have these big bins that people thought were full of t-shirts. They were actually full of CDs and mixtapes.
Wow.
And that's where Top Dog could go and sample things. And we would get music, right? Like we were burning CDs and doing all that stuff, and we were getting it from him. Like he literally was educating us on
the game.
On the game.
Completely.
Every
because he lived it first hands.
Yeah.
He was there. 80s, 90s. He was there.
He was there, and he's still there. He came to my event a few weeks back, and
the last one?
Yeah. He came to the showroom and he showed so much love, and he still looks the same. He's still the fly.
Young, the flyest dude in
hands down, anyone bring me their boss. This dude, smoke him. He's the flyest dude in
bring me
in
your
the world.
dad or your grandpa, and I'm gonna show you what.
He's gonna Jada them.
And us.
That too, yeah. But yeah, dude, like they held it down, man. And
seguro, es bien importante. Ya hemos hablado de esa tienda, o sea, por lo menos con los de fútbol, hablamos con Ken, hablamos del espacio, hablamos de todo.
Yeah.
¿Cuánto estuviste allí?
Man, how long was I there?
Sí, ¿cuántos años trabajaste allí?
Man,
2 o 3?
Well, when I would come back for Christmas break, because obviously when I graduated, I went to the States to study.
Okay.
But every Christmas I would come back and I'd work there for 3 weeks.
Okay. So tú siempre has estado grinding.
Yeah. And when Carrie gave me word that they were closing the store, I came back and I worked there until it closed, because to me, that was sad. Yeah. Like that was a
you were part of it.
I was a part of it. So I was like, if I was a part of the beginning, I'm gonna be a part of the end. But I've always stayed in touch with them, and
that's nice.
And
that's
I see them as my mentors. I see them as second parents to me. They've always showed me love, and I'm forever gonna show them love and be grateful for everything that they've taught me throughout the game, because I'm able to now have conversations with OGs, like dudes that are older than me, about brands back that a guy my age might not even know or be able to talk about, but because of them, I'm able to have these conversations. Like even going to trade shows, like they got me to go to trade shows like real early in the game. So it's really, really dope. And it's funny because someone that I'm talking with now had a company back in the day, and they were talking to me about their company, and I was like, yeah, you guys used to make XYZ. And they were just like, how do you know? And I was like, we used to carry you in Puerto Rico. And he was like, no way. And then he knew exactly who they were too and everything. So that's fire. Like,
supongo que la industria los conocen porque eran los únicos en Puerto Rico haciendo eso y trayendo esas cosas.
Yep.
Y ahí fue, me imagino que conociste a Pon, a Álvaro, a Ken.
They're like, I call them second generation in a good way and with a lot of respect. So when I came back, on one break, they were all there, and it was Alvaro, it was Pun, and Ken, but they don't talk to nobody. Yeah. Like we were loud, like the topics, the slinkies. We were a loud crew, so we talked to everybody. These guys were more about like what they're playing on the radio and how fly they were looking, right? Like they were trying to talk to shorties. They were all about their game.
That was the supreme vibe. And you thought like whatever, I don't give a fuck. We're cool.
Yeah,
you need our shit.
Yeah, it was like go ahead, figure out what you want, and then ask me. We were more like, yo, we got this and that, and try this on, try that on. We were all over. We were hustling. But that's when I got to meet the legendary Pun and
rest in peace.
Yeah, man, love that dude to death, man. Like he took me a few times to go paint with him, and that experience is something that I'll never forget. And a reason why even became more of a fan of you as an artist, because you took upon yourself to help carry a legacy, and not many people will do such a thing. You stepped up and you're showing out.
Thank you.
That's big, man. Many honors to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. It's humbling. So te vas para South Miami.
Yeah, I go to South Florida.
¿Qué vas a estudiar?
I go to study graphic design.
Okay. So nice. Where?
At the Art Institute.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, bro.
Yo estudié ahí, loco. Yo, we've been crossing paths all this way.
You were just too cool for me.
I was doing this before, man.
Who's this skinny redhead dude coming here with this tribal gear from Puerto Rico?
Come on, man. I'm going back to Puerto Rico.
I got there in 05 and left.
Sí, pues yo me fui 2004, 2005 y ahí es que yo vengo para acá de nuevo.
Yeah, so I'm just walking in. Maybe that's why every time I do graffiti projects with Mr. Bing, he was like, "Yeah, this has been done before," because you probably did them 2 years before me.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. Did you live in the dorms?
Yeah, for sure. ¿En cuál? En Rivera Inn.
Yeah, the first one's right on the corner on and not before A1A, right there off Sunrise Boulevard.
Pero están los de acá y los de atrás del garaje. The gas station, they have the river.
No, I didn't live by the river. Those were
like a motel.
Those were like lofts.
Yeah.
Nah, I lived in the prison side that you could touch both walls like.
Con the bank board y no había fregadero, era el lavamanos.
Yo, I was there. I remember being there and like hitting up my parents and being like,
I need to get out.
What did I sign up for? Like this is crazy.
So, ahora que estamos hablando de esto, te pregunto, esto no es un regret, no hay regret en la vida.
Ever.
Pero yo digo, coño, si yo hubiera analizado antes, me debí de haber ido para Nueva York o para Chicago. Why we pick Fort Lauderdale in the middle of nowhere?
I think
because it was closer home. I know.
It was it's closer to home, and it was something that was natural to us.
Yeah, seguro.
Like, it was easier. Like we were still talking to people in Spanish. We were still understanding it, and also too, they did such a good job recruiting.
So like they came here.
They were always here.
I
remember seeing them, and they're like, "Yeah, come to some like a weekend."
Yeah, I did
check
that.
It out. And I went and I did that, and I was just like,
I did that too.
But I met one of like my best friends through that.
Okay,
he's like,
nice.
I'm gonna shout him out. Tate Design. He's killing the car game, because I met him during that weekend that everyone was like trying to figure out what they wanted to do, and this dude's like already like building custom boxes, building like the loudest music systems. Now he's rapping Rolls Royces, Bentleys, you know, for you name it. He was ready. He's been doing it, and he's someone that has motivated me to continue my dream in this industry, because you know, it's not many people that you probably went to school with that are really still pursuing like what they said they were gonna do. But you know, shout out to him. Like,
pero I'm gonna do my shadows and give you some insight too. Yo conocí al FDC en Miami, pinté con ellos. Ellos eran also starting kind of, and they still in the game, and they run in Miami, and they're doing their shit.
Fire.
20 years after.
So far.
Y nos conectamos y como que, yo, we went to college together. I remember you. Yeah, I remember you.
And you never know, right, who you're going to cross paths with and continue to do work with. So that's sick, man. But yeah, man, I lived in South Florida almost 13 years.
13 years. Yeah, wow.
Almost. But coming back every
summer.
It was not even like, it was like every 2 to 3 months I was always coming
in. ¿Y te quedaste, te moviste a Miami o te quedaste en Fort Lauderdale?
No, I stayed in Fort Lauderdale. The majority, I think my last 4 years, I moved to Miramar.
Okay.
Because that's when like Wynwood was coming up, or they just started building out Wynwood at that time. So we were going out there a lot, and I didn't like to drive. Uber didn't exist, Lyft didn't exist. So it was like, who wants to be out here driving, you know, late nights in Wynwood? So I moved out to Miramar with some of my buddies that they had.
So this is almost 2008 or 2010.
Yeah, it's maybe even later than that.
Yeah, because our Basel is 2010 or 2012. It started popping.
I got there like 2014 because I did my show in Fort Lauderdale.
So te iba a preguntar, ¿fue en Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, the very first one.
¿Cuándo lanzas? Ahora vamos para el goody goody. Vamos a hablar de Details Matters. ¿Cuándo lanza el Details Matters?
Man, so before Details Matter, I had another brand called Shades of Red.
Okay,
Shades of Red.
It's okay. That's cool.
So it was B-Boy Shade and myself. So we put our names together. It was basically the Crosswalk Man. The logo was the Crosswalk Man running with the Ghetto Blaster.
Okay.
And
red, I guess.
Yep. And so
it was colored red.
Yeah. So, and we were just hitting up every single B-Boy jam, all up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
We were in like 7 or 8 stores at the time too.
Nice.
So I was still my last year of college.
Y ya estaba vendiendo en las tiendas.
And we were selling, and I was taking everything that I had learned at Treats. So that's when I really started getting into silk screening, packaging. You know, I was already doing like hang tags and.
¿Y tú estabas haciendo todo?
Yeah, everything from packaging.
¿Estabas haciendo los silk screens también?
Yeah, I was going into this. Well, I was printing in different places. Okay. But that's when I started to learn about it. Fully. But we were going in, like we were really selling units. You know, I had built at that time it was like Big Cartel was where you made your website.
Still is.
So I was on Big Cartel at the time. I was taking pictures, images of the shirts on my cell phone, on my first iPhone, transferring over to my Mac, cutting it out in Photoshop, putting it on my site. And, you know, that was my first brand. So we put that to rest in 2012 because I started Details Matter in 2014.
Okay.
Yep.
So, háblanos de Details. Espérate. Punto aparte. Brincamos. Quería mencionarte como que estábamos hablando de Katie y de Pedro. Y ellos como que yo les llevé mi ropa. Me dijeron que no. Y después le llevé otra colección y me dijeron que sí. Y era como entrar a Treats 787 y que ellos te compraran y te pusieran en su tienda. En esa época, 2006, 2007, 2008, era como que you made it. Era como que, wow, ok, estoy en la tienda que que representa o que mueve todo la grasa.
Yeah, because they didn't do consignment.
No,
right?
No.
So it was like right now a lot of places do consignment. They didn't want to do consignment. Like if they were gonna support you, they were gonna buy it flat out. And what's funny is I used to do hats, you know, those foam hats. They used to tell me no all the time.
Yeah.
No. And to me it was like, I think what they wanted to, and I don't know the answer to this, right? Like this is me going off on a limb, but it's like they want you to stay consistent and to see if you're going to come back, right? Because at the end of the day, if they bring you one time and you're a hit, and then next time they're asking you for more product, and then it's like, I don't do this no more. Because that's what happens to a lot of brands now, is that everyone wants to make a brand or they want to sell some type of merchandise. They do it one time and then they disappear. And it's not that they wasted anybody's time except their own. But it's like, if you're a store owner, you want to make sure that this can stick around, and they want to make sure like that you might not be selling to other people. Like be a little bit exclusive before you can blow up. So I thought that was a good thing. Like they were ultra picky about what they brought into the store.
No, y es un show me you want it. Enséñame que lo quieres. No, sí. Está bueno. Consistencia y persistencia. Okay, mala mía por el segue.
No,
era algo que quería decir.
But you got in like that. I think that's what's the most important part is that you got in there and you were like, I buy I try to buy as many t-shirts from you as I can now, just because I love graphic tees. Yeah. And I don't produce enough in Details Matter because it's not really what we want to do. Like we're on the more essential quiet side of things. But when I see dope graphic tees, I cop. Like I buy massive amount of t-shirts. People don't know that, right? They think that I'm more of a sneakerhead. Yeah. But I buy way more graphic tees than anything.
Yeah, I'm into graphic tees too. Yeah. So cuéntame, Details Matter 2014. Me encanta el nombre. Es un nombre muy fuerte, muy pretencioso, porque tienes que take care of the details. So, ¿por qué el nombre?
So, Details Matter started... I was working for an agency called Multi-Image Group at the time.
Graphic designer?
No, I was actually ran the print shop.
Okay. So a t-shirt?
No. It was a signage.
Okay.
Yeah, so we
rótulo.
Yeah, they do staging and design for like so many people. Anywhere from Mary Kay, Bank of America. And I started there as a carpenter.
Okay.
And when I got hired, and a buddy of mine, Josh, who, thank you so much for everything. I needed a new job at the time. I needed to make more money. Claro. And he was like, yo.
Side hustle.
Yeah, he was like, yo, there's an opening, but it's for a carpenter. He's like, do you know carpentry? And I was like, no, but my grandpa's a carpenter, right? like him and my uncle make kitchens. And so like automatic by default, I'm like, yo, I gotta have this in my blood. So I go to the interview and they're like, yeah, you know how to use a table saw? I'm like, yeah. Yo, you know how to use this? I'm like, yeah. Bro, very little times have I used it. So I had to end up making an agreement with this kid, Cody, who would cut all my wood, right? And he would do all my cuts. And then in exchange, I would have to putty, sand, and paint. Like I had to do the work that he didn't want to do. So I wouldn't get fired.
Wow.
Because everyone had their own workbench. And you're out here with nail guns like hanging off. Like it's a bit like the places like the size. The places like the size of Costco. Their work their work is beautiful. And literally, like 6 months in, I like cross paths with the girl who runs the print lab, the lady Shannon, and I'm like, yo, is that a rolling 60-inch? Like trying to like pretend like I'm like I gotta get out. Yeah. She's like, oh, you got graphic experience? I'm like, yeah. She goes, I need an assistant. So she goes and she talks to my manager. She's like, yo, I like to move Redd over here. He's like, man, I'm short staffed. But she's like, hey, how about this? I'll make sure that he takes care of all your decaling and signage production, because that's what they're always waiting for to load the trucks. And he's like, yes. So she gets me out of there and gets me into like an office and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I can keep my job.
Ahora te encargas de rotulación.
Todo.
¿Y estás bregando las máquinas o no?
Sí, todas las máquinas. 2 massive printers. They had cutters on it. Everything. I'm running a lamination machine that's like, it's big time production. And, pues de ahí, this is where Details Matter gets. I've always been someone that wants to help motivate people. Y pues siempre ponía muchos quotes Twitter, Facebook, it would always be like a quote and then hashtag details matter. It's something else, hashtag details matter. Y pues nada, pensando, thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, this would make a dope ass, like, to put on a t-shirt, right? Like, my veins itching. I haven't done t-shirts in like a year, because Shades of Red was over. Y empezó like con otro pana que trabaja en la oficina, que es un diseñador gráfico super brutal. And he's like, yo, let me help you piece a logo together. Like, this is dope. So we're drawing on paper. We end up coming up with it, and it's born, you know, and that's where the compass is born. And the reason why the logo has a compass is because the compass creates a perfect circle. And inside that perfect circle, you want to keep that good energy going. And when we talk about friends and family, we talk about our circle. So we can make our circle as big or small as we want. And that's what the compass represents, is to make sure that we keep that good energy in our circle flowing correctly. And we can make it as big or as small as we want. And the reason for that circle is because there's been so many times throughout my career that I've been like, yo, can I sit at the table? Even if it's just to listen, I've been told no. And I'm a believer that we can all eat
in the same,
same, or we can all sit at the same table.
No sé si lo dije en cámaras en un episodio pasado o lo dije fuera de cámara, pero este es mi take on it. Lo que tú acabas de decir. Esto es una boda. Y esto es un bizcocho de boda. Y todo el mundo come del bizcocho y todo el mundo se lleva para las casas.
Facts.
Hay bizcocho para todo el mundo.
Facts.
No seas un atragantado.
Facts.
Y el brillo de otro y la comida de otro no te va a quitar de tu plato.
Y verdad, cuando uno da del corazón, uno recibe también. Y no recibe en el momento. Tú recibes cuando tú más necesitas. Like, when you least expect it and you most need something, that's when you're going to receive what you do. That's why I tell people when they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do you that favor. And don't do me that favor. Because that opening statement is already letting me know that you're not doing it from the heart or doing it because you want to do it. You know, and what you said is, yo, I love that, bro. Like, I'm going to start saying that, yo, this is a wedding cake and we're going to freeze it and eat it next year too. Like,
we're going to take it. We're taking it home. Taking it home.
It is. Hell yeah. Yeah. Yo.
Me gustó eso del círculo. So, en el 2014 tienes un pop-up en una tienda allá. Ellos te compraban.
No, so I'm going around, and at this time the game has changed, right? Like, no one's buying anything at this moment. Okay. Everyone's like, everyone's like consignment.
Okay, sí, claro.
Right, consignment. And the thing about consignment is you drop off your product, but
to see if it sells.
It could get touched, it gets dirty. People try it on. People steal it, right? Like, from different stores. So there's a risk factor. So to me, I was taking this more serious, and I'm like, yo, my brand's called Details Matter. Like, I can't let people be out here doing this. So I was doing Fort Lauderdale at the time was building an art walk. This place called CNI Studios was hosting art walk, and they're still doing it. And I would rent a table, and I would go there with my product and put my stuff on display. Like, I had a store, and I would have I had a 2-door Civic, and I crammed so much stuff in it because to me, my display had to look like a boutique. Yeah. And I have an old picture on my Instagram that I'll show you after this, but that it's me shaking someone's hand, and I talk about how the handshake is so important because that person is still buying from me till this day. And it came from that, right? Like that humble beginning of just going to these art fairs and setting up my booth there. So it's like, if I can't get into the stores that I want to get into, at least I can present myself how we're presentable. But there was a new boutique shop that had opened up on Las Olas called The Archives, and they hosted this not a contest, but they were basically like 10 brands, 10 weeks, everyone gets a pop-up type thing, and they would lend the space. So that was in 2016. So that's the first time that I do that. We did about 200 to 250 units for that event. It was a 4-hour event, and I left with like almost nothing.
Cool.
And that's where like some of my closest homeboys were there. 2 of the guys that are actually partners in the brand now, they were at that event too. And that's when I realized, I was like, yo, this is bigger than than an art show. But like anything, I worked full time always, and anyone.
Estaba haciendo graphic design todavía.
No, yeah, I was still working at Multi-Image Group, but you know.
So you've been grinding and hustling.
Yo, when I was in college, and I'm gonna shout this because this is a very important part of my story. When I was in college, I worked at a dry cleaners, Jade Ocean Cleaners. Yo, I learned about fabric. like I went to the fashion school.
Claro.
I learned about I had know what it was, how to take care of it, how to treat it, how to spot clean it. And Larry Taroker and his son Michael Taroker, yo, they taught me everything. So no one knows this. Like, yo, I worked at a dry cleaners for almost 3 years.
Yeah, cool. Esas son las experiencias.
Yo, and it was fire. And the lady Patricia that did the alterations, she would teach me how to measure people, right? So everyone who went to fashion school to learn all these things, I learned at the dry cleaners. Because it was 6 days a week. I was at school 6 days a week.
Claro.
Doing this. And she was teaching me how to, like, basically everything you have to learn how to tech pack. I learned how to tech pack because she was teaching me the proper measurements and everything. Now I was taking what I learned from her and putting it onto the computer and then figuring it out, because graphically, I'm not a good graphic designer. Even
the measurements.
But I'm conceptual. Like, I know how to take the idea and run the whole production and everything. But yeah, man, like that, I had to shout that because that was a big piece of me doing it. Is like the dry cleaners.
Es súper importante, súper loco las curvas que coge la vida de cómo entras a un dry cleaner quizás por necesidad, pero entonces aprendes todas las telas, el satinado, el whatever, el cotton, lo que el French, whatever, ¿me entiendes? O sea, más aprendes un poco de cut and sew, de cómo tratar los materiales.
Yep. And it's funny because now, my mom's always said it, like, every job you have is just a stepping stone to where you need to be in the future. Yes. And when you're young, you don't really pay attention to that. And then now, when I get through certain situations, she's like, I told you. See, I told you. Like,
pero quizás tú estabas claro, ¿me entiendes?
Yeah, we always knew where we wanted it. I've always known
what you wanted to do.
What I wanted to do. I just, like anything, like, you don't know how you're going to get there.
Claro. Ahí te mueves para Puerto Rico de nuevo.
There, I do. I live in Fort Lauderdale. I decide to move to California.
Okay, San Diego.
Yeah, I moved to San
Diego.
Love
San Diego.
Yeah, beautiful place.
Yes.
One of the most beautiful places I ever lived. It's very postcardish. My best friend lives there. Roberto Wallace. Yep. So he's going to open up a facility, or he had opened up a facility already. I did the logo and everything, time, performance, train your mind every day. And I tell him, like, yo, I'm going to come out to Cali. Like, I've always wanted to go to Cali. Like, I Am King wasn't. There were so many brands in California that I love that I was like, I got to get a taste of this. So
it's New York or LA. That's it.
Yeah. So that year, my grandfather had passed away.
Okay, and sorry for that.
Yeah, bro, that's my guy, man. Like, I do what I do because of him. Like, he's till this day my best friend. Like, I got his ring. Like, that's nice. You know, like so when he passed, I remember him calling me that week, and he was just like, go live your dream. Go do what you want to do. Like, stop working in an office. Like, pursue your dream. And he, like, even told me, he's like, I don't want you to come to Puerto Rico after I pass. And bro, that was like really hard for me. I'm like, damn, like, yo, that's your grandpa. So with no hesitation, I quit my job. I told my roommate, I was like, yo, our lease is up. I sold a lot of my stuff, and I took that same 2-door Civic that I had been packing for so many years. I wish I still had that car. Yeah, I drove from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to San Diego with one of my best friends, Stephen Hurley. You know, thank God for him. He's always wanted to go to Cali too. And we had a pack as homies, like we're like 5 or 6 dudes. We wanted to rent like an RV or a van. We always wanted to do that trip. And you know, States. People are getting married, having kids, and he's like, I know the rest of the dudes can't do this. You're driving out there. He goes, I'm going with you. And it was dope,
that's a
man.
friend.
Oh, dude, that's my. I'm the godfather to his child. So, but yeah, man, like that.
Esas son tu sobrina.
Yeah. That's my godchild. So,
So you go to San Diego. What did you do in San Diego? And how long were you there?
I was in San Diego for 2 years.
Okay.
For 2 years, yeah.
Ahí estaba bregando todavía Details Matter.
Yeah, so I was working Details Matter. I dropped my first cut and sew piece from the garment district over there. I was going up to LA. It was a bomber jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, I did this bomber jacket in this waxed material. I think I have one. I did 2 colorways. I don't know how I don't own a piece of my own stuff, but I did it one in an olive, one in a black, and they sold like crazy. And that was my first time selling a piece for about, I think we sold it for $120. It was like over $100. And I was really wowed by it. And that's when I was like, yo, I'm gonna go back to Puerto Rico and work on this full time. And then that's when I come back here. I think that's like 2016, 2015, 2016, around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y ahí, cuando llegas a la isla, empezaba a trabajar con el Limited.
So
la muela tenía la tienda.
Yeah, yep. So what a lot of people, it's funny, they don't know this. Muela.
Primero, ajá.
Yeah, a lot of people
aclárame la relación con Muela.
Mucha gente no lo sabe, pero Muela y yo somos primos.
Okay.
Y nos decimos primos hermanos, porque we're literally like como 6 días de diferencia en cumpleaños.
Okay.
We're so close. And pues cuando yo vivía acá en middle school and high school, pues él y yo corríamos patines, bicicleta, everything, juntos. And we were inseparable.
Pero hay una relación familiar legit.
Sí. Okay. Our moms are cousins.
Okay.
Yeah, our moms are cousins.
Son primos segundos.
Somos primos segundos, yeah. Okay. But we don't see it like that.
Claro,
we're brothers.
Claro. Tienen una relación y están en la misma vuelta.
So Muela tiene la tienda. Yo estoy super pompeado. My cousin's doing this now. He's bringing in all these like... He was going a different route, right? Like he's doing like Diodora, Saucony. Like
claro. Bueno, las cuentas que podía traer. Que podía conseguir.
Sí, exacto, más hacer sus propias cosas de Limited.
Claro.
Y me gustaba el concepto con the barbershop and beauty salon in the back y eso.
Claro.
But yeah, yo lo usaba como un hub. So yo
un creative hub.
Un creative hub.
No. Y los ayudabas o le dabas la mano.
Lo ayudaba con ellos, whoever was coming through the door who had to do work. You know, I think Ortiz was coming through the door and they were doing music together. Alvaro was coming doing merch. Yeah. So we kind of just creatively would just help people at the time. You know, it wasn't really something we were like charging people to do. We were just doing it for the free.
Exacto, really. empujando los movimientos de cada cual y las visiones de cada cual.
Exactly, that's what we were doing.
Y shout out to Muela, se tiró un riesgo y hizo, no creo que es la primera, pero hizo como un boutique, de sneaker boutique real.
Yeah.
Que si hubo 1 o 2 antes, no fueron muchas.
Yeah.
Y sí, lo intentó, lo hizo, lo empujó.
Yeah, no, and it was, I think it was done correctly.
Claro, claro.
Yo creo que he emphasized a lot on making sure that la gente entendía lo que estaban comprando. You know, so, y habían cosas que there were sometimes, and a lot of people don't know this, habían tenis que salían exclusivamente en bodega, extra butter, y él los compraba full price, nada más para traerlo, y él cobraba como $10 por encima,
sí,
nada más 20, like, él no era como ahora que es the resale game so crazy, right, que tú puedes comprar algo en 100 y venderlo en 300. Era una tenis que valía 120 y él venía y la vendía en 160. You know, like it was a very little markup, pero para él era importante que la gente tuviera a taste of something different, ¿sabes? Que no pueden conseguir.
Claro.
So to me, eso es un riesgo que tú tienes, because at the end of the day you gotta pay bills. Pero para él,
employees and whatever.
Exactly. Pero para él lo más importante era que la gente en Puerto Rico tuvieran algo diferente.
Claro. Y que hubiera ese mercado que no existía.
Exactly. So yo creo que ese año nosotros hacemos otro pop-up.
Que estuve ahí, que esa es la colección de Dreamers or Doers.
Yeah, Dreamers versus Doers.
Yes, háblame.
So todo lo que nosotros hacemos en Details Matter, we try to storytell. Eso es bien importante. Y Dreamers versus Doers era un concepto que yo tenía, que era it's good to dream, but it's better to do. So we try to tell people, yo, dream as big as you can. Pero yo creo que unfortunately, people sit in la la land and they stay dreaming.
Claro.
So stop, el slogan era stop dreaming and start doing.
Yeah.
Y pues el concepto era eso. So tenemos Dream Catcher. I got that's on one of my chains is a Dream Catcher. the Dreamcatcher was one of the icons, and then the doer was a cobra, right? Because the cobra would go out and get what it needs to get exactly. Yeah. So we did that, and that did well. Like
sí, me acuerdo. Yo tengo la de la cobra.
Yo, and shout out to Fernand, who does the most amazing screening, man. Like
nice.
I know people who have that T-shirt and they're like, yo, this T-shirt's still alive. Yeah. And great. And I'm like, damn, you know.
Iba a decirle eso que estabas hablando ahora de Dreamers and Doers. Yo tengo un quote que para mí siempre ha sido como bien importante en mi carrera y es como que actions speak louder than words, ¿sabes? O sea, tienes que ejecutar. I don't care what you say. Cuéntame todos los sueños que tengas.
Yeah.
Pero si no estás en acción, si no estás en doer mode,
you're gonna get nowhere.
It's all a dream.
Yeah.
Después de Limited, ¿te quedas en Puerto Rico o ahí es que te vas para Nueva York de nuevo?
Nah, so that was like right before like Hurricane Maria came. Mm-hmm. So I had pre-booked. Me and my homies. My birthday's in mid-October, so around like June, July, we had booked a trip to New York for my birthday.
Okay.
And you know, we get hit by Maria in September, so you know, no one, just like you went through and everything like that, no communication, no nothing. So a few of my homies, they didn't make the trip. No one knew about me. Again, that same dude that I drove to California with, Stephen Hurley.
Yeah.
He was like, nah.
The man.
My dude. Yeah, bro, this dude's a legend. People are going to talk about like, yo, who's this dude? But he's, bro, I always tell him it's funny because we always think about like Kanye and everyone in Paris and stuff like that. And that's when I think about that team, like he's one of those guys
that's your team,
will forever be with me, but he's not in the industry, right? Okay. Like he's
your buddy, your real buddy.
He's my best friend, one of them. And so when I finally get cell phone service, I want to say we got cell phone service what like 20 days,
like
2 weeks, like
after.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. So I get cell phone service. Mind you, I'm gonna tell you something that changed my life. When the cell phone service got stuck, and our bad habits of social media. How many times did you grab your phone to be like, knowing you didn't have service, right? You're like grabbing your phone,
scrolling down.
So my Instagram was stuck on E.T. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, the motivational speaker.
We talk about that, yeah.
And and it's stuck on. He was doing like a Throwback Thursday, and my Instagram got stuck on the when you wanna succeed as bad as you wanna breathe, then you'll be successful. So every day for those 20 days that I had no signal,
that's all you had.
I would watch it over and over and over again. So during this time, where I'm working at the gas station with my buddy, making sure that my family could get gas. So super shout out to him. He knows who he is. He's the homie, man. Like he made sure that my mom's planta was still getting gas and all that stuff. But my beard was wickedly long. We're looking crazy, right? So my barber's cutting hair con una planta bajo una carpa ahí mismo en Redondel at the time, and I get signal. I tell Steven, yo, if my flight's still on,
I'm going
to New York. And I have a conversation a few days before I leave with my mom, and I go, I'm gonna go work at Kith.
Nice.
And I remember having the same conversation with my boy Nico. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go work at Kith. And he's like, yeah, go make it happen, right? And the reason being is it's a brand that I had always looked up to.
Claro.
Right? And a brand that, I thought that RF was doing some of the most craziest stuff at the time. I remember skipping work to go to his event in South Beach one time when he did the homage.
De los equipos.
Yeah. So he had done this homage where he had all the shoes there. It was like a museum and stuff in South Beach. And I remember skipping work to go out there meeting him, but I was too far back in the line, and it was raining. And my same homie, Steven, he
Steven the man,
yeah, the legend. He went with me to that event, and we were outside, and it was raining, and RF had come outside, and he was like, yo, everyone who didn't get a book signed can come in, because you guys waited out here so long. And I thought that was so dope of him. I was like, yo, damn, like that's really cool. So I got this picture. The whole group, everyone he let in, we took a picture with him. And I remember leaving and looking at him and just being like, yo, I'm gonna work with you one day. And he kind of just gave me like this, like,
yeah, I hear that every day.
Yeah, kind of like one of those. So during the hurricane, I made up my mind I was gonna do that. So my flight wasn't canceled. I head to New York. I got $500 cash, a duffel bag, and a roller, and I packed like all my flyest gear. I shaved my beard completely, so I was fully shaved down. I had cut my hair, shaved my head, and two of my homegirls, they were working for Tom Ford at the time, and when I get to New York, they're the ones that kind of take me in. And I get there October 12th. October 13th, I link with Steven. October 14th, which is the day of my birthday, I have my interview at Tom Ford. And I show up and I'm wearing a hoodie, a snapback, and some like jogger pants and Gel Light 3 tuxedos. And this dude's across the table from me wearing a 3-piece Tom Ford suit, looking like $1 million, staring at me like,
you're in the wrong job.
Yeah, you're in the wrong interview right now, buddy. And basically, I tell him, I'm like, look, I just went through some shit. Yeah. The island's going through some stuff. I just lived 30 days, no water, no electricity.
And I'm here, fly a fuck.
I'm hungry, but I guarantee you that if you give me this job, I'll go across the street, I'll go buy me a suit, and I'll be at work tomorrow. And sure enough, dude, I step outside that building. Yo, you got the job. And so that's where I started. So I go to New York, and so version 1 was
Tom Ford,
get a job, right?
Claro.
Like mission 1 was get a job.
Claro.
Mind you, I'm supposed to be in New York, like celebrating my birthday. And I'm just like, nah, we got to get a job. We land the job, then we can celebrate, right?
Yeah.
So I get a job at Tom Ford, and I'm selling fragrance for them. Right? I don't know anything about fragrance. I know a lot about fragrance now. I knew they would cost $250 to $500, but I was slinging them, right? So I went, I bought a suit from H&M for $130. I went and I got it. It cost me like...
Not at Tom Ford.
No, it's crazy because the suit cost me like everything, like the shirt, the pants, the suit, because I only had $500 cash.
Claro.
Like the alterations on the suit cost me half of what the suit cost, but I had to look fly, right? Like I'm at Tom Ford. I got to look super dope, nice. Right? So I get the job. We're in there. That's mission 1. Mission 2 is, how do I get a job at Kith? So I start going to Kith and I start asking people, yo, you guys hiring? Everyone who works there is just like
ignoring you.
Just tells you no.
No.
Right? The only way in is if you knew someone. Right? Now it's a little bit different, you know, but at that time, at that time, they had just made the move from the old store to the new store. So they were still, Atrium. So they were still like super, and to me, that's the vibe that I liked, because I was like, yo, they're keeping it 100. They're keeping it the same way that we were at Treats. No one was just getting hired at Treats. Like, you had to know someone. You couldn't just get hired.
Claro.
Like, how many resumes were coming in through our door there? And I build a LinkedIn, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm just hunting on LinkedIn until I cross paths with like the HR lady. And I just email her. This is who I am. This is what I do. I got 13 years experience in retail. I know, boom. So she's like, yeah, sounds great. Gives me an interview in November.
Yeah, you got one more month.
Yeah. So I'm like another month there. So I get an interview, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a breeze, bro. Like, I'm going to fly through this. Like, I'm seasoned. Yeah. I'm good to go. Yeah, I went through like 5 interviews. Right? So I was interviewing November. It's Q4. They're super busy. Claro. People are on vacation. They're trying to push out the last collection. It's holidays. The people that you got to interview with, they're not in town. You know, they're getting ready to open LA. Like, a lot of things were happening. And I'm like, damn, like, I might not get this job. Like, what am I going to do? You know, like, I can't be staying on my homie's couch
still
forever, you know? And it goes like November, December. So I'm like going through interviews. In January, like mid-January, I show up to work, and the dude at Tom Ford's like, yo, I'm going to have to let you go.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, what happened? Like, you already let all the seasonal people go. You know, like, you made it seem like you were keeping me. And he was just like, nah, thank you so much. And I'm like, fuck. So like, I'm taking off my tie, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, yo, I'm out. I got to go get a new job. He's like, you're not going to finish your shift? And I'm like, hell no. Bro, you just let me go. Like, why am I going to stay? So I leave. I go, yeah, like, who's going to finish your shift, bro? Like at this point, I'm like, yo, I'm about to go. I'll go work selling dollar slices. Like, I don't care. Like, I got to stay. Like, I'm not leaving. Like, in my head, I was like, I'm not leaving New York. Yeah. Like, I'm staying in New York. Like, I just went through the hurricane. Like, I'm staying. New York. There's no way that I'm leaving. Like, I haven't even done a year. So I get on the train and the lady from Kith calls me. And I answer, she goes, what are you doing? I was like, I'm on the train. She's like, get off. So now I'm pushing, yo, excuse me, move, whatever. And she's like, how would you like to join the team? And I was like, I'd love to. She's like, when can you start? I was like, right now. Yep. And she's like, whoa, you got to whatever. Yo, and I'm just sitting there, bro. And the trains are leaving and coming in. And I'm just standing there like.
Waiting, just like.
Yo, but just basically to myself, like, puñeta, like, yeah.
We hicimos.
Like, yo, we did it. Like, that's what's
cabrón, eso es una super experiencia.
Yo, it was such a milestone for me to get that job, because I remember speaking of it many times here in Puerto Rico, and people like, yeah, bro, you're bugging. Like, you're never going to work there. Like, yeah, okay. And
antes, y me imagino que después, que tampoco todavía te lo creen así.
Oh, nobody knew, right? Nobody knew that I was there. So I get the job, but when I get the job, I get hired as a sales associate. And I'm getting paid like, okay. So I'm like, damn, how am I
estás en el piso.
Yeah, estoy en el piso. So I'm telling all the employees, I'm telling people like, yo,
I'm a designer.
Nah, bro, not even that. I'm telling people like, yo, I'll take your shift.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yo, you don't want to work, I'll take your shift. Yo, you don't work, I'll take your shift.
Que estar todo el día en la tienda.
I won't go through the full process, but I was
Pero
there.
Quería estar todo el día en la tienda.
All day, bro. I was soaking it in. Like, no one in that building knew how important that was to me except me.
Claro.
No one knew the milestone that I had reached. No one knew that it's something that I looked out to. No one knew the experience of what I went through. I just knew that I was the kid from Puerto Rico who now works in the Soho store, right? And
that we've been looking up to.
Yeah, of course. It's something that we looked up to in the industry, right? Like, it's like, yo, you work there, you kind of made it. And this dude that hired me, Lucas, you know, he was my GM at the time, and he understood it, right? Like, he understood the importance of it. And he also understood like everything that I had been through, you know, and he was a super key in my success in being there, you know, and NA and everyone that was there, you know, from the up and being able to work with Ronnie and stuff like that was really dope, and being able to interact with him, you know. But what I want people to know is, like, I went into that building as a sales associate and I left as assistant general manager.
Wow.
In less than 3 years.
Nice.
You know, and it was multiple positions that I had to take within that. But, you know, with that said, like, the hunger and the drive
kept you going.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nice. And that job wasn't just a job to me. It, like, the connections that I made within those doors were bigger than anything, because people that I met through those doors 5 years ago are people that I'm doing business with now. You know, so that's something that I have to understand too. And I'm grateful for being within that building and being given the opportunity that I was. And, you know, I never went to work, not one day, like, yo, I don't want to be here.
Claro, no, tú estabas grind mode, tú estabas enfocado, tú sabías dónde estabas y lo que estabas haciendo.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like, I had this Details Matter hat. I had two of them. I had a black one and a red one, and both of them had the Puerto Rico flag on the side. And people would come in and just be like, yo, how's your family? How's everybody doing? And then other Puerto Ricans that were visiting would be like, diablo, espérate, tú eres boricua, ¿de qué parte? De Cagua, diablo. So it's like, that alone was the conversation starter. And, like, that's when people started recognizing and really like flipping it, right? Like, I was coming back to the island and people were like, diablo, tú eres que traen kit y qué sé yo qué. You know, but I will say that that's the one thing that I want to get away from as I'm coming up now is I don't want to be, diablo, tú eres Redd de Kith or tú eres Redd de tal sitio. I want people to be like, dog, that's Mr.Redd.
Mr.Redd.
Like, that's it. Like,
pero tú hiciste lo tuyo, tú estás haciendo lo tuyo y eso es parte de la evolución.
Exactly.
Eso es parte de la evolución.
Exactly.
Y nada, cabrón, es stepping stones, ¿no? Y tomaste un risk y lo hiciste, y no todo el mundo tiene esa oportunidad. Y además de que conseguiste ese espacio, seguiste subiendo dentro del de los escalones del mismo trabajo.
Yeah,
y ahora
it was
mismo,
dope, man. Like, it was dope.
Y ahora mismo mucha gente, o sea, todo el mundo sabe quién es él. Y él volvió solo, single-handed, a poner ASICs en el mapa.
Yeah.
Y pues, o sea, tuviste esa oportunidad, no muchos la quisiéramos tener, ¿me entiendes? Y tú fuiste, te arriesgaste y lo hiciste.
It was, I wouldn't change anything. The path would stay the same, and the drive, and there I learned how to pay attention more to details, even more. Was in those
sí,
walls.
porque ese es su fuerte.
Yeah, like seeing the way that man works, right, is a game changer. You know, the way he thinks, the process, how they execute everything is very precise. You know, like you would think though, like there's a lot of things that you could look at and be like, wow, I thought they wouldn't have done this way, because through the scope, sometimes things look a lot bigger and more polished. But like any other brand, they're still they still haven't hit their peak.
Claro.
Right? Even though he just announced they're about to open up a new store, like they still haven't.
Eso de París está.
Oh, dude,
eso es otra cosa.
It's beautiful.
Es otra cosa.
It's beautiful. So, but yeah, man, that was experience.
Eso fue una super experiencia.
Yeah, man, definitely one of the great. Like so far, like.
So, ¿qué haces después de Nueva York y de aquí? ¿Vuelves a Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I come back to Puerto Rico again. So the path is Puerto Rico, Florida, San Diego, Puerto Rico, New York, back to Puerto Rico.
And now what we're doing. Ahora trabajas con Fresh.
I'm assisting.
Estás ahí. Entras ahí.
I'm assisting.
¿Verdad?
Yeah. I'm not.
Y ese es el principio de ellos abriendo el shop.
I want to say yes. I can't know fully. But I came back.
Yo creo que es los primeros meses o el primer año que ellos acaban de abrir el shop.
Oh, well, dope. So I didn't fully know that. So
eso creo yo.
So I come back. I at that time I didn't know Harry too well, but we're getting to know each other. We have a very mutual respect.
¿Cómo lo conoces?
Just out and about. Just out and about and just crossing paths and stuff like that. To be honest, I wish we could remember like how we really fully connected. I want to say it was probably maybe going to a shop or so, but he reaches out and basically we have the conversation. Hey, I have this store. We want to make experience much better. It's something that you have on your resume.
Claro.
How would you like to help out? In my head, it's like dope, makes sense. You're homegrown, you're here, you're doing something. I was seeing how much backing he's getting.
Claro.
Is very huge, and we're able to have, on top of that, me and him have very good conversations about things that are happening in the industry.
Claro.
And to me that's healthy to be able to talk about those things, because I'm able to have a creative conversation with another person that runs a brand, and I think he's been doing a very good job at it. So yeah, I assisted a little bit at the store, but not something on like the I'm still doing my thing, which he respects. And it was dope, man. We were able to like learn more about each other and stuff like that. But
¿Y qué más hiciste en esa vuelta a Puerto Rico? ¿Qué más hiciste?
I just worked on the brand and just focused on myself, really, man. Like I had been moving so much.
Sí, que todavía.
En New York, dude, New York was a lot, man. Like I worked a lot. So.
Háblame del personaje de 2J Shops, right? Las Vegas.
2Js, yeah.
JC, háblame de ese personaje. Háblame cómo conectas con él. ¿Estás con él en Las Vegas? ¿Vas a Las Vegas o no vas a Las Vegas?
So I connected with him in New York when I was working at Kith. I connected.
¿Él trabajaba allí o no?
No. He was opening up his store there in Soho. Me and Muela met him.
Okay.
Way back in his old store, his very first store. Muela knew about him and was like,
we gotta go see
this dude, que Boricua, he has a store. It's a sneaker resale store. It's like one of the first of its kind. It's dope. I was like, cool, let's go. And we go out to his store and we were playing the Heat Locker and he was in the store like cheering us on, right? Like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna hit, whatever. And we take a picture and we dip. I don't think I'm ever gonna like cross paths with this person again. Yet alone, he comes into the store one day at Kith and he's shopping and I'm like, yo, you look mad familiar. Man, we just start chopping it up and he's like just mad friendly. Yo, come to the store. I'm opening up this new store down the block. Go check it out. Yo, this is dope, whatever. And we just like homies, man, just kicking it. Really. So when I moved back to Puerto Rico, he tells me, hey, I got something available in Las Vegas. Do you want some help? And, it was a little bit of a conversation. I kept saying no, because after I left Kith, I was like, I'm going to focus fully on my brand. I'm going to focus fully on what I want to do. And just back and forth. We finally agree. He's like, yo, why don't you just come out to Vegas? Come check it out. Come see the store, meet the staff. Explain a little bit more about what we're doing, tell you about my city and stuff like that. Like, he's the mayor of Vegas.
Las Vegas now.
Bro, everybody. No, before.
Even before?
Even before the new shop.
He grew up there or something?
He spent a long time there. But he's very well known there. Okay. Like, super well known. And very humble dude. Mm-hmm. One of the most humble people that I know, and one of the most hardworking individuals that I know. Like, that man's story is insane. Like, if you guys can listen, he did a podcast with Jeff Staples, Business of Hype. Like, if you have free time, like, listen to it. I think he did 2 episodes with him, one during the pandemic, one way before, and he explains his story. And so I go out there. I agree. I go out there, and right when I go out there, the pandemic hits. So it's an up and down, close the store and all that stuff. But, you know, one thing that I'm grateful for is that man is one of the most hardworking individuals that I know.
So you got a lot of mentors.
Super. So,
explícame un poco, si puedes, ¿cuál era la posición that you were hired for?
Over there? So
I
was the GM of the store, but I was the GM plus like a store director.
Okay.
So my main focus was like the sales floor, but also the experience of what you were getting in the store. Mm-hmm. We had other plans of what I was originally supposed to do.
Pero obviamente la pandemia.
Exactly. The pandemic happened. So, you know, and I will tell you this, when we finally got able to open that store, and even before, that man went to work every day.
Claro.
Open to close. Like, no one could ever say that, oh, he just hires people and just puts them in the building. That dude's on the sales floor with you. And that's something that I respected, and that I was like, yo, because during the pandemic, we worked 7 days a week, 14, 13-hour days. If you followed him and watched his lives, you would see me, like, he would go on Instagram Live, and then he would, like, tap into me, and I would be at my crib, and he'd be like, I'm uploading something, secret drop. You know, we created, I helped him create Shop 2J's Closet together and stuff like that, which is a beast in its own. It's a whole another separate identity. And but I will say this, man, like, the year that I spent in Vegas was a game changer, because it really tapped into my work ethic and how hard
they work.
That dude.
He and them, like, whatever.
Yeah. But him and his wife are like, bro, like Voltron.
Sí, pero
like that's what I compare him to.
Pero digo Voltron. Digo Keith. Digo esos equipos. Yo pinto graffiti con uno. No voy a name drop porque tú sabes. Pero mis conexiones de graffiti tienen 2 tiendas en 2 ciudades de Estados Unidos, y el tipo está pintando graffiti, contestando llamadas. Me dice, sale de pintar un mural y va a montar un booth en no sé dónde carajo, y es como que yo. ¿Cómo carajo?
Yeah, I think it's like
tan hungry, pero también es el lifestyle, pero también es la única manera de, it's the way to do it.
I think on top of that, it's the love for what you do, right? Like that's what you learn. Like, you go, yo, if you love something and you just do it wholeheartedly, it's gonna grow organically. And I think that's what I learned in every single position that I was in, is like, these people love what they do, and that's why they're flourishing so much. Like, they're not paying attention. Like, you know, like,
they're not paying attention. They focus on their shit.
They're wearing their blinders. You know, like,
esa es la manera de hacerlo.
They're wearing their blinders, and they're focused on their mission.
Qué bueno que mencionas esto. Te voy a decir algo. En el graffiti, en la calle, pasan cosas, ¿verdad? Por estar pintando aquí, estar pintando allá y haciendo lo que sea. Pero cuando tú te enfocas un montón en ti, and you're in your lane, people are gonna get in your lane.
Oh, yeah.
Porque tú estás... Lo que acabas de decir.
Yeah, you're wearing your blinders and
y tú no sabes nada, tú no oyes nada, tú no ves nada, tú estás enfocado.
Yeah. But that, at the end of the day...
You hurt feelings.
Yo, but at the end of the day, the way that I've always visualized it is like, I'm not competing against anybody.
Ahí está. Está compitiendo contra ti.
So it's like, I'm competing against myself, and I'm trying to build something with my team. Like, I'm so grateful for my team that we've had. And the people that I've worked with and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you probably do know, but people that pay attention to the brand, like, we go by the slogan, we are the details. And when we say we mean everybody.
Everybody that consumes,
everybody that wants to join. Like, I don't care if you buy from us or not. Like, we are the details. Like, we just want positive energy around us and working and stuff like that. So as soon as I left Vegas, I said, look, I got to put on my blinders, and I got to work on what we got to work on, and now's the time to put on for the place where I'm from, right? I have pressure on myself, and this to some people might sound bad, but I have pressure on myself that like I have this desire to put Puerto Rico on the map the way it's never been put on the map before. And I know other people have put us on the map, from athletes to Olympians.
Yeah, but not in this industry.
Exactly. And I feel that.
I feel you.
And like I am the first. Like if someone else did it before me, please let me know. Like, I am the first. I left. I feel that pressure that because I left and I work for the companies that I work for and the people that I work with,
they look into you.
Yeah, and I talk to so many. You have no idea how many. People who watch this and people who are gonna listen to this and they know who they are. How many meetings do I take at coffee shops every week just to meet with young kids and individuals that are in the market, just to like give them 30 minutes to an hour of my time, and they DM me and they write me.
Aquí?
Yeah. Okay. Yo, I'm doing this. What do you think? To some people, that's an agency of consulting, right? Like, consulting. They're gonna charge.
Claro.
I tell them, yo, this day, this time, I'm at the coffee shop. Yeah. You want to talk? Bring what you're doing. I'll look at it. You got 30 minutes of my time. You got an hour of my time. Bring all your questions. And I do it because there's so much talent here, and because nobody really helped. Like our age of people, no one helped us. No one was like, but dale, yo te ayudo.
Nadie. Tuvimos que hacerlo.
Yeah, we just had to do it. Yeah.
Claro. Ya, lo cabrón. Acabas de decir algo súper importante y se me fue. Pero no, eso mismo que dice como en el graph. Yo pienso que la DM y mi corillo hemos hecho eso mismo. O sea, sí meterle en Puerto Rico y estar duro, pero cabrón, tú quieres competir con la liga y tú quieres estar en la NBA.
Yeah.
Y yo creo que esa fue una asignación que POM se propuso y que nosotros hemos mantenido. Y ni siquiera es competir, es crear relaciones y estar ahí presente, pero estar al nivel y competir al nivel. Porque no puedes pensar y creerte que estoy haciendo esto y estoy haciendo aquello, pero cuando sales allá o ves los números, no traslada, o sea, no funciona así. Tienes que saber los niveles y ejecutar a esos niveles.
Yeah, and until this day, man, like Pun's one of the greatest graffiti artists ever to do it. Like I like the colors, like the way that man would think. Like, what's the album that is it a Kid Cudi album that he says like the Seeing Sounds, right? Like, that's the Cudi album, Seeing Sounds.
Nerf.
Yes, that's right. The
NERD.
NERD. Yeah, the NERD. Nerds. Yeah, that's right. The fro, Seeing Sounds.
Con el mono.
That's the way that I feel that Pun visualized life. Claro. He could see colors in places and combinations that no one else could see before he even touched the can.
Sí.
And to me, bro, like that he influenced so much of the color combinations that I had in Shades of Red. Because if you go back and you look at anything I did Shades of Red, I was doing like purple t-shirts with like teal logoing, right? Or teal t-shirts, yellow logoing. Like I was doing like such crazy, like color really schemes. Bright stuff that people were like, I remember I did a lime green t-shirt that had like a magenta and blue like checkered man dude on it, and people were like, that's not gonna sell. Yo, and that shit was selling out.
Claro. Es que esa es la paleta del Caribe también, ¿me entiendes? Y él también estaba en su viaje, cabrón. Él creó un mundo alrededor de...
Yeah. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do at Details Matter now, is just trying to make sure that we use the island palette. And really that's where I get all my influence from. I spend a lot of time in Old San Juan. I love the cobblestone streets. I plan in the future to start taking trips to different cities here and
getting influence
from different cities, and also learning culturally what are they doing in these cities and where they're from, because the spectrum in Puerto Rico is so broad, you know. And I feel like when you're caught in the metro areas, one of the reasons, you know, I'm out further now, but it's because of that, right? Like I need to not be, you know, I lived in New York. You don't want to be in the city. I don't want to live in the metro area here now. I want to live far in the outskirts, because people think and act differently. It's a slower pace for lifestyle.
Pero tienes que tener cuidado con el island time. El island time is a thing.
But I'm
not gonna slack off.
I'm not late, bro. I'm not late. I'm always on time.
Yes. Bueno, háblame de tu equipo, porque tienes un equipo, tienes par de gente trabajando en el proyecto.
Yeah, so there's two other gentlemen. One you started slowly being introduced on my social media. Sammy Cool Cave. He is man, how do I figure this out?
Pero no es tu fotógrafo.
No. He does photography.
Okay.
He's on the team. He's a wordsmith, an idealist.
Okay.
He puts, deals together and stuff like that.
Okay.
But most of all, he keeps me in check. He keeps me on a schedule, makes sure that I use my calendar. He presses me daily in a good way. If he was sitting in the room right now, he'd be laughing. But he's someone that saw a bigger vision in me, and really was like, "Yo, I think if we're able to polish these parts of you, we're gonna be able to get more from you." And that's what we've been doing. The brand is going a cut and sew route, which we've been very proud of and excited to do, because now we're gonna be able to separate ourselves from a lot of other brands, because being here in Puerto Rico, a lot of brands just keep popping up.
Claro. But I think Puerto Rico and everywhere.
Yeah, but everyone wants to always put them in the same categories. And it's like, yo, we're not
the same.
We're not competing with nobody, but we're also not in the same conversation.
Claro.
But he's a big key part of the brand. And then there's another gentleman by the name of Brandon Rodriguez, he has an agency out of Miami as well, but he's a visual dude. So he does more like DP video work, stuff like that. He's the back end guy, right? He's the one that I'm like, yo, the website.
What's happening?
Yeah, I'm freaking out. Yo, he go in and code it and do all this crazy. He's super techie. Again, someone who believed in the brand in the earlier days and stuff like that, reached out. Yo, I think there's a bigger vision for this, but I think you also need help in XYZ section. So both gentlemen,
that's great.
Both.
That they bring a helping hand.
You know what's dope is that they didn't approach me on some like crazy business, right? Like they
see what you're doing.
They're two people that we went to the same high school. I didn't even conversate or even hang out with them in high school. More on the college level. Everyone lived in Fort Lauderdale, but they didn't come into the brand when I first started it. It was in the later stages. But both of them came and said, we recognize these flaws that you have, and this is how I think that I can help you get past them and fix them. And I think that's why, to me, it was more organic and easier to be like, this makes sense, right? Because we have a certain way of living, we in Details Matter, and a certain type of lifestyle, that we like to live and we like to give out. And both gentlemen bring different things to the table that, to me, we all complement each other in different ways because we're so different. And the day that I recognized this was, I used to always say that when you have a team, if you present something and you're like, yo, check this out, and everyone on the team is like, yo, that's dope, you got the wrong people around you, right? So these are guys that I've brought stuff to, and they're like, yo, that's cool, but I think this and this and this could be better. And it's not that they want to take over, because there's days where I'm like, this is what it is, this is what we're doing. I'm in the screen shop and they're like, I didn't even know you were printing this or making this. And I'm just like, I felt the creative vibe, and I'm went ahead and do that. And now they're trying to hold me back and be like, yo, we need to run full production and go over everything. But that's when I knew, like, these are the correct people to do the brand with me, because
bring them in.
They're always challenging me, right? They're always pushing me and challenging me and trying to push the boundaries on things. And at the same time too, they allow me to educate them on certain things that they don't know about in the industry that I've learned throughout, that these are years and years and years of
experience.
Exactly.
So, ahora que estamos hablando business, let's go a little bit. Vamos un poco más adentro a los negocios. So, la marca lleva maybe como 6 o 7 años.
Yep.
No hay drops every 3, 6 or 8 months. So you're dropping as you please or as you can. ¿Cómo es el vibe?
So, I can definitely say that the brand, it was born in 2014, But like I said, when you work for other people, you can't work full time on your brand.
No es full time.
So this year is literally year one of the brand in my head. Right? So this is year one. So we've been consistently working the past 6 months.
Lo demás era práctica, warm-ups.
Yeah, yo, we say it. I got text message. I'm gonna show you. It says like, yo, the warm-up suits are on.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're like, yo, the warm-up suits are off.
Game starting.
So we don't design by calendar. Because we're not in a big production. We're trying to also be conscious of like sustainability and stuff on how much we put out. So we're trying to make sure that we put out enough that we always either sell out or we're able to move at a pretty good rate.
Claro.
I don't want to see a storage room full of old product and be like, damn, I was never able to sell this. The storytelling is the biggest part of everything. So I write a story behind everything. There's no drop. There's no collection or drop that doesn't have a story. The other day I tweeted, people are designing just to design and it's meaningless. They're just putting out product too fast, right? Like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. Why? What's your goal? Like I get it. Like it's but now your design is tied to currency, and now everything has to be a transactional meaning, right? So do you really love what you're putting out, or are you just putting out to match on the calendar? Right? And that's okay, bro. Like everyone's going to have their own business motto. That's not ours. Ours is to make sure that we put together quality pieces that are essential, that you're able to rock more than once a week. So when we come to the table, I've seen people bump into people. Damn, this is the second, third time I wore this shirt. The next pieces that I'm going to drop in these next few weeks is going to be the hottest shit out there.
Boom.
Like just quality wise, fit wise, it's going to be a daily essential.
Okay.
That's out there. My age range that we have at the brand, I have from the young kid, right, who's a sneakerhead, who's going out, who might know me from the industry, who might not, right, who just wants stuff to match his fit, from age 13, 14, all the way up to the 75-year-old businessman that I sit with and have conversations as a mentor, who's like, yo, I'm wearing my details matter to today's meeting under my blazer. Fire. I don't want to have us, like when people say, who's your...
¿Cuál es tu
mercado? ¿Cuál es tu mercado? Everybody.
Claro.
I hope one day we can do baby stuff. Like, my friends that want kids stuff are going to be so tight because
I'm going to hook them up.
Tira cosas de niño. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. Y no sacado nada, but yeah, man, like that's the way we're going. Like, I just want to sit in my own lane. No quiero apasionarme de calendario. I would like to have, my goal is for 2022 to have 4 drops that happen throughout the year, always at the same time. But that has to tie back to the storytelling and what we're doing. Claro.
Sí, porque por lo menos es importante que no que tienes que drop cada 3 meses o esto o aquello, pero por lo menos consistencia, ¿no? Y tener we're fighting for attention. So si estás 6 meses, 8 meses, 1 año sin dropear, la gente se olvida.
And that's the trick, right? Like you have to play with that too. So we've been trying to, like, every 2 months try to put out something. Even if it's an accessory or something. Like we did whiskey glasses for the showroom. Claro. And they blew out the water. And I was like, damn, I just wanted to do something different because I like to drink whiskey. And, you know, I think that's important too, is that we continue to do that stuff. But also make sure that when people are buying this stuff, it's something that they're really using throughout the time. I don't want to be bought because of the hype. Could it get to that one day? Yeah, any brand could get to that. Claro. Right? Like you reach a certain spectrum, but I couldn't.
It's not what you're looking.
It's not what I'm looking for, right? So all that I think all that too fits monetary to the lifestyle of earnings, right? So it's like, I think when everyone has to get paid and everyone's, you know, you got to scale your brand so people can have jobs from it. You got to think a little bit differently, but it's like, how do we take the model that we've been doing, switch it and scale it up?
That it works for the team you have.
But the good thing is I've already worked at the mecca of it, of 100 people, 200 people, 300 people plus, that I know that when we start scaling, I'm able to function under that because I've already worked in that type of industry and environment. So actually working in a smaller scale team has been more challenging to me because now I don't really report to, but now I conversate with 2 individuals specifically. When before it was like, I'd make a decision, that was it, you know, or I'd make a decision and I'd have to go through one person, right? And then it would go out. So it's interesting, man. That's a good question.
Pero la libertad creativa o eso mismo, que tienes que responderle a 2 personas, no tienes que responderle a 100 empleados. No, y le permite a la marca hacer lo que la marca quiera hacer.
Yeah.
Porque si funciona o no funciona, bueno, queremos hacer dinero, quieres vivir de ella, pero no tienes 100 o 200 personas que it needs to work.
Yeah, it has to work, right? Like, it's just like everyone has to get a paycheck at that point.
Exacto.
But we, you know, we've been moving slowly but surely. We're moving. We got everything accordingly. You know, we got a couple of really good collaborations on the way, from like really good relationships that we have with certain brands and people, and we're really excited for that because, you know, we don't believe in this whole buy followers and our account needs to have a certain thing. Nah, we're focused
relationships.
We're focused on making sure that the brand can drive itself, right? I read something today which was pretty dope. It was on Virgil Abloh, and they were talking about how brands, certain people use their name as their brand, and if that person disappears, what happens to the brand? It disappears because they use their name. And he's basically talking about how like he could step away from Off-White, and Off-White's going to continue because his name isn't tied to it. So yeah, he gives face for it, but if he didn't, would it still exist as a brand? Of course it will. So I think that's you know, reading that.
Pero eso es tricky.
It is, but
Louis Vuitton es un nombre. Y Polo Ralph Lauren es un nombre.
But it came at a time.
A different time.
It came at a time where people.
Tommy Hilfiger es un nombre. Ellos no están ahí.
I looked at that space in Old San Juan. They left.
Yeah,
that's a good space.
Dijiste algo bien importante ahorita del sustainability, maybe fast fashion y todas estas cosas. He visto que has tenido un par de proyectos de las escuelas y esas cosas. Háblame un poco de eso. ¿Eso es parte de Details Matter?
Yeah. So when I was working one of my jobs, I was on an NDA, so I wasn't able to continue with my brand stuff. The only way that I was really to use my brand name was on certain projects that I was doing. Okay. Right. So that's why you didn't see me put out a drop for almost like a year and a half. Okay. Because of that. And I respected it. You know, claro. I was on a contract that I couldn't do certain things. But
wow, interesante.
Yeah. They tie you down, bro. Make sure you read your contracts. Yeah. So the school is something that we took upon and that we wanted to rehabilitate. It's going to open up in the next 2 weeks, which we're super, super excited for. This is 2 years running. You know, obviously it took us a year to rebuild, to do the school, the year of the pandemic. Shout out to everybody who helped out with that. Jimmy Jazz jumped on big. This dude, Ricardo, he works for a brand called Colorway. He hooked me up with Jimmy Jazz. I was the face of the Air Max Puerto Rico that year. And they collected funds for Puerto Rico at a few stores out there. That was super, super fire. Overthrow Boxing did a run and a community event. We collected money. Roberto Wallace at Time Performance. The tattoo artist Megan Massacre. She did a tattoo event with us, which there was a line down the street. I actually saw her a couple days ago when I was in New York, and I told her, I was like, the school's gonna open. She's gonna come here in September, so we're gonna take her to the school. Nice. And this guy Jesus from the Maria Foundation too, he helped us out getting sponsorships and stuff like that. But basically I was working 5 days, coming to Puerto Rico, working on the school 2 days, going back. Wow. And this was back and forth from New York. Shout out to everybody that came out, that donated time, you know, and just helped paint and put it together. So.
¿Y cuál es el plan con la escuela? O sea, ya la pintaron, la rehabilitaron.
Yeah.
Pero van a dar clases, todos los salones. Yeah. Pero esto es una clase aparte, un sistema aparte, o es
no,
parte?
so it's a self-funded of like a Montessori school. So what happened was I went to Montessori school when I was very young. Okay. My mom was also a teacher back in the day, and she taught at Montessori schools. and I'm a believer of what they're doing and their system of teaching. So when I found out that the school was getting too small for the amount of kids that wanted to go to the school, and I saw the new school, I was like, man, this needs a lot of work. It had been abandoned for a few years. So, you know, it was...
Están moviendo una escuela de un sitio a otro.
Exactly.
Porque había una escuela abandonada.
So one was functional, the other one was not.
Was not. Pero en la que estaba funcional no cabían los estudiantes.
Exactly. So now if they wanted, they could house about almost 200 kids.
Wow.
They wanted. It's huge, man. There was a trailer in the middle, got knocked down. Super crazy, man. Like shout out to everybody who came out. Like that, it's dope, man. Like to me, that's a goal right there.
Ay, súper interesante. Yep. ¿Y vas a seguir con estos proyectos?
Yeah, we did. Sammy linked one with Tito Matos. His school is on La Calle Loiza. Mm-hmm. So we did the Create Change. I don't know if you saw that long sleeve shirt. Mm-hmm. It was called Create Change, and we linked up with them, and Puerto Rico Distillery did a Facebook Live, and they raised some money, and then we gave a donation from the shirts that we did. But we also, on our Instagram and our social media and our website, told his story. So the important part to us is like making sure that we're not telling our story, we're telling other people's stories. And we have a segment that comes out that's called We Are the Details.
Ese es el nuevo proyecto.
Exactly. That we highlight individuals that are doing good.
Ya has sacado 2 videos, ¿no?
Yeah. We've done we did one like unannounced, and then we just did one officially, and now we're starting it up, which you know, we're gonna try to put one out once a month where we highlight someone within our community to talk about them and why details matter to them. So the first one was Puerto Rico Distillery, which is a father-daughter business. They're Puerto Rican, and they distill moonshine, pitorro, in Maryland, and it's so
in Maryland.
In Maryland, yeah.
Wow.
And it's so fire. It's so good. Like anyone that I've ever let try it, next time we link, I'm gonna bring some with me.
Increíble.
It's a dessert. It is a dessert. So right now, Details Matter is doing their merch, and mid-October we're dropping Details Matter PRD Pitorro. So that's my
PRD in Maryland.
Yeah, PRD in Maryland. So,
nice.
But they come here all the time. They're big in the Bomba and Plana community, and they do a lot of work here too. And you know, it only fit. It was a perfect fit. So October we're going out there. We're gonna launch this collaboration, and to me it's like people are getting collaborations with brands, and it's like we're gonna do a pitorro. Right? Like nice. It's a part of our roots, right? And I love pitorro on ice. So that's a cool one.
Yo, podemos seguir hablando. What's next? Vi que hiciste un drop de Bad Bunny para ponerlo un poquito jocoso, ¿no?
Well, I didn't
hiciste un bootleg,
I did my own merch.
Yeah. Hiciste un bootleg.
I did my own merch. So I was in New York. I had met his stylist at the time. I bugged out.
His stylist?
Yeah. The stylist he had at the time.
Okay.
When he was gonna perform, and she came in mad late, and I kept the doors open when she told me, like, I was like, yo, who you shopping for? She's like, oh, you're not gonna know. And I was like, try me. She's like, Benito. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, yo, fucking Bad Bunny. Like I'm telling my employees, yeah, you can leave. We got this. Like I asked, so we like get her everything, whatever. And
Keith?
Yeah. And I'm wearing like the lime green hoodie that says Details. She goes, yo, that's fire. So I posted it with the kiwis and stuff. Like this is when I was just like dropping stuff like Arganete. And someone was with him who knows me. I won't name drop, but someone was with him sitting down, and they were scrolling through Instagram, and he saw it, and he was like, that's cool. Yo, I like that color. Let me get it. So that person reached out to me. Yo, can I get some hoodies? Whatever. His stylist came by, picked them up, and took it. So I'm thinking, this dude's going to wear my stuff at his concert at Madison Square Garden. Like, I'm bugging. You know, who's with me at the concert?
Yeah.
Who do you think's with me? Yo, Stephen Hurley, bro.
Steve.
Come on, man. Steve. Yo, he goes with me to the hotel and everything to drop off the stuff. And we're like bugging. I'm living in Bushwick, taking the train. Like so we go to the concert. So that's when I made the Estamos Bien t-shirt.
Yeah, that's the bootleg I'm talking about.
So it says Details Matter in flames on the front. Estamos bien. 787. Yeah. It has the 135. You know, has the size of the island. And then on the bottom, it had my favorite quote. Y ser feliz nunca más salido caro. Is like my favorite quote ever, because that quote to me means life can't be monetary and driven on currency.
Claro.
Life has to be driven on happiness. So to me, that quote, and it's crazy because I wore it. Obviously, I went to the Madison Square Garden show, and people were like, "Párate, yo no vi eso en el booth. ¿Dónde compraste eso?" So I'm like handing out mad like cards. Check me out. Pre-order it. Have this. And like, yo, people are like blowing me up. I don't even know how to charge for this. I don't know. Like it was a lot of work because like it was heat press. It wasn't like silk screen.
It was fast. We need something.
So I ended up making one and just doing them for pre-orders, and like we sold a good amount. But like a lifetime goal of mine is to do like Bad Bunny merch. Nice. Or like design something for him. Not even merch. I think given the opportunity to maybe like design together. Yeah. I like his come up. I like everything that he stands for. He's top 3 in my artist. Someone that I've been listening to since the SoundCloud days. And you know, he wore my stuff. He ended up wearing that hoodie at a concert, and I remember waking up that day and people just blowing up my DMs. Yo, he wore your stuff, and I'm like, I remember I called out of work that day, and then I was so excited. I was like, yo, I gotta celebrate this. Like, and then there was another photo that aroused. I was like, he was playing ball with Carlito Arroyo's in Miami, and he was wearing like another hoodie. So like the 2 or 3 hoodies that he has, 2 of them I've never made the colors. It's only his. And then one of them is like something that a few people have.
Nice.
So it's like really dope.
So it's sad to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Dime, ¿qué es lo próximo?
Man.
Viene Pitorro. Vienen videos.
I got Pitorro. I got a very big collaboration coming out 2022.
International.
It's going to be big.
Big.
So I'm super excited for that. And nothing, man. I'm just excited to be back on the island, and I'm excited for all the new talent that's down here, linking with everybody. I've been trying to go to all the events that are coming out. Yep. I know, you know, Fubot and Abot been doing a lot of stuff. Glitch has been doing things, holding it down. Hanky at Too Many Friends, holding it down at his shop. You know, I just been trying to hit everything up that I can. You know, people DM me, yo, send me your event. What are you doing? I want to come by. I want to check it out. I want to support in any way possible. And I think just tapping into the community is the biggest thing. So I appreciate you giving me a platform to tell my story and connect and also see how many times we've crossed paths but never met. That's pretty dope. So I'm pretty sure there'll be a part 2 of this sometime in the future. But yeah, what one question for you? What are you looking forward to happening in this near future? You know, are we going to get any art shows? Are we going to...
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to get anything?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be asking the questions.
Yeah, hey, but I'm a fan of your work, too.
Papi, no. Estamos tratando de civil, claro. Estamos trabajando canvas también. Pero siempre, tú sabes lo mismo. Como que... Suena raro decir lo mismo, ¿no? Yeah. Pero es lo mismo. Tirar t-shirts, una que otra. Prints. Pintar muros. Lo mismo. Seguir la vuelta no cambia.
We love it, man.
Pero sí, estamos buscando dónde es civil y presentar los cuadros y esas cosas que nadie ha visto todavía.
Super fire, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Gracias. This is Mr.Redd.
Yo.
I'm Nelson Selek. And this is the MdrnCults. Bienvenidos al culto.
Appreciate you.
Gracias.